Life's a game, the world's a stage, and we are merely role-players, where theatrical people play role-playing games. Hi, I'm Matt Boothman, and I'm your compere for this studio production. Here on Merely Role-Players, what we do is we improvise stories to entertain you and sort of to entertain ourselves. And we use role-playing games to keep those stories going places even we can't see coming. Because as theatrical people, we're all about maximising the drama. In this production, we're playing the beta version of Court of the Lich Queen by Ursidice, with guest players Fiona from What Am I Rolling and the DM's Book Club, and Naomi from Who Lives Who Dice, Realms of Peril and Glory, and The Secret of St. Kilda. So please take your seats in the studio. Tonight's production is about to begin. The Queen's dead. A Merely Role-Players studio production. Act 3 of 3.
Do I need to resolve the ghost sharks now?
So no, that is unresolved and it is now no longer resolvable.
Great.
I've terminally fucked that challenge.
Woo-hoo!
You just got to get out of that ghost shark lake. The water is thoroughly chummed.
Yeah, we're rowing so hard.
Yeah, I'm using extra limbs.
Would your champion like to go next, Tild?
Sure, Tild will take on the indecipherable tome.
Mm-hmm.
And then they see and they're like, okay, we did this bone IKEA. Let's see. Okay, this goes in here.
This is a fialbo.
Calyx, yes, that's at the back with the K's. And they'll start going and remembering for all their time during Skeletal History 101, where they went through the various different words for it was the biblioteca, adwat. Yes.
I like the idea that it's the equivalent of the neck bone's connected to the shoulder bone. Shoulder bone's connected to the
go left. Yeah, exactly. So I would suggest that they are using law to get through this. So that is a +2 to so that's 1d6 + 2. That is a 7.
Nice.
It's almost like Minority Report. They're starting to pull bits out and they put it onto the icy walls, as presumably Draugr adventurers come on, and they're like, wait, and then they just do the thing in Labyrinth where they step through the wall. It's like, this way, and it's like a hidden pathway. I've done it.
It's a magic eye door is what it is.
100%. They realise because all the papers make it together.
I would like to take on the Hall of Mirrors. And I think that Keith the Bloodless understands that this is a trick of sight. So he is going to pluck out his own eyes.
Tild's like, what are you doing?
Okay, it's a 6, +3 is a 9. He plucks his own eyes out, leaving just a cavernous hole. In fact, I think he offers them to Tild, because she's got 2 sockets she's not using.
Oh.
And then because he's no longer confused by his own senses, Keith the Bloodless uses his large spear made of fallen foes that his wife made him to navigate the maze.
Just following him along behind them, just like with the eyes, like holding them up.
We have 2 successful deeds.
Nice.
Next.
I have no champion remaining.
That's cool.
So we're back to Skellies.
Skellies.
Ensnaring Chorus, I believe.
Yeah, I'm 100% taking Ensnaring Chorus, where maybe at some point Keith and Tild get separated briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Tild's like, oh no, and has these eyes and looks around and just sees their worst enemy being Fennec just pointing at them saying, you are nothing. You can't stop the sky from falling. You can't even stop anything. You couldn't even save your friend. Typical rubbish. Useless.
And the dodo's got away and it's your fault.
It's your fault. All of this is your... And basically that's a negativity. Tilda's like, you're wrong. You're wrong. And goes to attack this thing. So I'm going to roll plus might, which is 0. Because they're a weak skeleton. That's a 6.
Oh shit, well done.
Huge gains here. Honestly, Hast was holding the 2 of you back.
Yeah, right?
Clearly.
You 2 were like this. There was chemistry here waiting to happen.
Netflix special. That's what's happened here.
Yeah.
I go, and I start windmilling my arms and running forward and basically just recreate the Neo versus Mr. Smith scene where I start punching up all these phantasmagorical versions of Fennecs to the point where I swing one around. At some point, Keith comes and is like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, and there's nothing else in where they are. So obviously they've all been destroyed and melted away, these images and stuff. So it looks like I've just, I don't know, just like I've had a massive fight with nobody. And then I'm like, let's carry on. And then eyes, and then follow you behind as if nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Windmilling your arms would be so much easier without like muscles and tendons.
Exactly, yeah.
You've got options.
You get a full 360-degree movement there.
Yeah, 100%.
I would like to take on the Ice Warrior.
Please.
With the power of hitting. Keith is going to take his Spear of Might, gifted by his wife, and take on the Ice Warrior on a 1-on-1 battle.
Already used the spear for something that's not fighting, so great to, put it to its real use. That was just a warm-up.
Dual purpose.
That is a 7.
Oh.
I decapitate the shit out of this bad boy. And I steal its eyes, and I put them in my own head.
Looking to my hands, looking to your hands.
Holding another pair of eyes like, but now what are these for? Fuck.
The spare. Let go.
And I would like to lead us on to the final treacherous oracle. She's like, it's here, but it's not where you think it is. And it's like some sort of like riddle, look inside yourself, blah, 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 blah. And I would like to roll on lore to know that the power was truly inside me all along. If that's okay.
Go for it.
It's a 6, so that's a 7.
Hey.
I put my spear into my own ribcage, open up where my heart should be. The ice crystal's in there. I was like, I just give it to the skeleton, like, I guess we're done.
I'm then now juggling both the ice crystal soul and the eyes, and I'm not sure which ones to take. And eventually I'm just like, okay, and just hold them next to me and trundle back.
Fiona's doing a very good mime of holding too many items and not having got a shopping basket.
Yeah, shopping basket or having any pockets.
Happening
there. Yeah, and then follow Keith.
We escape. We have a tender moment on the boat where we're like, wow, we're lifelong friends. And I'm like, I cannot wait to tell my wife about this. She's going to be so stoked that my Christmas present was like hella useful.
And hey, like, the Wraithlight Dominion already pre-mourned Hast.
That's so true, yeah.
I tried 3 times already, it was about time.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, 3 is an auspicious number.
Yeah.
Who cares about Hast? How do you even say 4 times? There's no word for that.
and Tilda's just like, I'm not going to get shouted at. Just like relief that they're not going to be in trouble.
Fenix will find a reason.
Yes, of course Fenix will find a reason.
Incredible quest. 5 successful deeds. But don't count your chickens just yet, because now I have to roll the resolution of the move.
Come on,
God
Matt,
damn it.
And we've seen how my dice have been rolling tonight.
Come on. We've worked so hard.
The way this resolves is it's 2d6 plus 1 for each successful deed. And no thanks to the domain that initiated the quest, but thanks very much to our honoured guests. We have 5 successful deeds.
Okay.
So I'm rolling 2d6 plus 5.
Come on.
6 and a 4 on the dice is 10, plus 5 is 15.
Hell yeah.
On a 12 plus, gain an artifact.
Ooh.
The Soul, the Lost Frozen Song, and pick one. Make a mark against the ritual, increase hope, or I can give every participating realm some stuff.
How are we at on the ritual so far?
4, that's 6.
Okay.
I can either give everybody 1 stability back, I can give everybody abundance in 1 resource, or I can give everybody 1 magic. I feel like resources we don't really need for the final session.
No. I think because we've not had any of it, because whilst marking against the ritual is probably good, maybe just increase the hope anyway.
Yeah.
I think just because we've not done that so far.
I was leaning that way. Let's do that.
Yeah. Super duper.
Yeah, we're now at 5 hope.
Ooh.
And if we complete the ritual, we may increase that even more.
Woo woo.
As the champions return triumphant from the ice labyrinth.
Hundreds of years of feasting.
The World Eater is slain, and the Draugr Earldom celebrates, while the sky continues to fall and rain blood on the Skeletal Duchy.
Oh.
So, Fiona, I'm afraid.
Yes. Sad.
Damage a bastion of your choice.
I know.
You don't have any left.
They've all been damaged. It goes further down. The whole thing is taken up. Metatarsal's gone.
Actually off the hook for that one.
Phew.
And reduce your stability by 1.
Oof, so I'm down to 1 stability.
How has the sky falling got worse in the Skeletal Duchy while that quest was happening?
I think that now the sky has fallen. You know, like the sky is really coming down quite a lot. And there's a lot of blood also. So I think that like everybody's like up to their waist or chest in blood.
No.
And just like also having to duck their heads to go places.
There's just a very small area between the head and the blood.
All the skeletons, they're all having to bow their heads, and they're getting the one disease that skeletons can still get, osteoporosis.
Absolutely. And even some of them will take their heads off, the shorter ones, so that they're above the blood. Just walking through. Morning.
And meantime, the siphon continues to leech power from the Wraithlight Dominion. My magic is reduced by 1, down to my final 1 magic. And I reduce a resource. I'm going to go from scarcity to nothing in something. Oh, do I lose the last of my ice?
Oh,
I think I do.
Ice, yeah.
I'm out of ice. And please tell me how my crisis evolves and how things get worse for my realm.
You have no ice. Things are starting to sink into a muddy marshland.
Oh,
There's a bog-like nature that's happening.
Yeah.
And I think that the problem with not having all the ice is the acoustics are shit. So it's no longer beautiful ringing noises.
There's no reverb,
damp wetness.
Well, like the aesthetic has changed so much that instead of the like ethereal Enya-like laments and dirges and singing, the music of the Wraithlight Dominion has started to be a little more banjo-driven now that we're in swampland.
Hag-like.
Everything is awful. The representatives convene one final time for the waning court of the final year of the court of the Lich Queen of the times of the coming of the dawn. Some come in triumph, some in ignominy.
Abject failure.
We had already thrice mourned, hast thrice dead.
I think that Creoch, the rotting hand of the cataclysm, actually arrives late, which is unusual for him. And he drags in the corpse of Logvik the World Eater, which is just this massive, like, bloated, disgusting, fetid item full of teeth. and lays it at the feet of the Lich Queen.
Look upon me. Look upon the Draugr Earldom and know you have been defeated. You are outclassed by our very existence.
Unclean, unclean! We lament the besmirching of this sacred council chamber by the presence of this foul creature.
How can I besmirch a place such as this? This is honoring the Lich Queen with its fetidness, with its rottenness, with its swollen hinds.
And he sticks his rusted blade into it and draws a big hole in it so that the innards can flood the area, essentially.
Fennec was in the middle of complaining. I'd taken the stage as she'd come in late, so I managed to go first. And looking at Fennec, they've got like pink upper torso, but now a much darker red from the hips down. So it looks like they're wearing red trousers.
Never a good look. On
Never
anybody.
a good look. Pink and red trousers.
Mm-hmm. And now 3 feet deep in guts.
Yeah. Now some brown slosh, and it's like, fair enough. I was just saying that the sky is still falling, and then Fennec cranks up their head because it seems to keep going to one side or the other. But no matter, yes, well done. You have solved your little monster problem. Good for you.
You spent 2 courts, and yet you still have not vanquished that which weakens you. And yet, we spend our court in service to this great queen, and then vanquish this without a problem. And we sent Keith the Bloodless, and he came back victorious. Do you not understand? If the dawn comes, it comes not for us. It comes only for you.
Well, I will admit we also had some... And then looks side-eye at something quivering behind the throne. We also had a hand in that. If it wasn't for us, then I doubt your champion would have been... I mean, I don't know what the literacy rates are in your kingdom.
Who needs to read when I have bloodshed?
Both your champions were no doubt inspired by the terrible and heroic sacrifice.
Inspired? Inspired?
The example set by the hero of the Wraithlight Dominion.
It's not a hero if it doesn't accomplish anything. It's just a participant.
We of the Wraithlight Dominion would have thought that of all realms, the Draugr Earldom would appreciate the value of charging headlong into battle and dying a hero's death. Fourth death.
Interesting, but Keith and I and his wife were talking, and it sounds like he tried to befriend some ghost sharks, which I think is probably both the start and the end of the problem, really, isn't it? Not very Draugr of you at all.
You just hear a slight squelch as I move one of the guts with my feet.
Well, there is little business to discuss in this, the final waxing court of the Lich Queen of the times of the coming of the dawn.
Well, Archgeist, get yours over and done with. I'm sure it'll make a little difference.
The Wraithlight Dominion mourns the time that we have spent with all of you.
Both the Skeletal and the Draugr are like, come on!
I think in the face of this, Lacrimine just sort of descends below the level of the barrel of tears, and you can just hear the continuing lament going on as the other representatives start to talk over them. Alright, lovies, it's me, Matt, your compere. While the players are getting ready for their next scene, let's you and I take a look through the programme. This right here is the third and final act of our studio production, The Queen's Dead. Very soon you're going to find out whether we stave off the dawn, who stands, who falls, what the new state of the Lands of Death looks like. When the episode is over and the curtain falls for the final time, I would love if you would throw our cast a rose emoji on the social media platform of your choice. You can find Naomi at Naomi Thinks It in most places, Fiona at WAIR Podcast in most places, and us at Merely Roleplayers in most places. Find a relevant looking post and comment with a rose emoji to shower our wonderful cast with flowers as the curtain falls. Next week we'll have a backstage episode which you're not going to want to miss, where I talk to Naomi and Fiona about how this game went, and I also talk to Matt Bear Ursidice Jones, the man of many names and designer of Court of the Lich Queen, about his experience of listening to our playthrough and his plans for the game in the future. The week after that, we'll be reopening the main house for another Vigil production, Vigil Chief Exec, starring Natalie Winter as Gwynedd the Divine, Josh Yard as Ginny Greenteeth the Spellslinger, Vicky as Renko the Flake, and Marta da Silva as Harper the Searcher. Last we left Ginny, a terrible CEO had just threatened to buy the land out from under her, and in Vigil Chief Exec we will see what a generations-old reincarnating witch does about that situation. Finally, I mentioned you can find Fiona online at WAIR Podcast. Of course, that stands for What Am I Rolling Podcast. And if you haven't heard us talk about that show on this show before, on that off chance, here's Fiona herself to tell you a little bit more about what it's about.
Hey, listen. Do you know your D8s from your D12s? Do you know your modifiers from your bonuses? Do you know your destiny points from your story points? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about? Either way, you should check out What Am I Rolling, a twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast. Catch up on previous episodes on the What Am I Rolling website, that's www.wairpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, adventurers need not apply.
Now, please return to your seats in the studio for the thrillingly tragic finale of The Queen's Dead.
Well, that was illuminating, wasn't it?
Indeed. Well, best of luck, my enemy.
Best of luck. I don't even think about you.
No, I gathered.
The red, though, is nice, and I think you've got boots and now trousers and a shirt. You're doing quite well. It's nice to see you not come naked to one of these things.
I mean, it's not what I would have chosen, but it's nice to stand out compared to the other 3,000 of our skelly boys and gals and pals.
Come now, Phoenix, your realm is hardly the only one to be inundated. There is nothing in our realm but water at this point.
Oh,
You still have some air.
Yes, rapidly diminishing.
We found another corpse that we're going to make a house out of.
Nobody asked. Look, I am returning back to my realm. I just thought I'd give you the courtesy before the dawn to both of you that I have put up with our conversations. I hope that it treats you well, and may we see you on the other side. I find your company irritating.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And you just slosh, slosh, slosh as Phoenix leaves.
What move are you partaking in, dear Fiona?
I am going to go for a realm move, and it's called Remember the Old Ways. So when you use the ancient custom of your realm to resolve a crisis, spend magic, describe your grisly traditions, and roll death.
This is the final session moves, and you were quite rude to me, so we're going to lay waste to your realm. Hope that's chill. Because Matt did let us know that he thinks he can resolve the ritual.
Yeah,
Chill, no problems.
Yep.
Leave that to
Bye.
you. We're going to finish our own petty squabbles.
Yep.
Perfect. I mean, the Wraithlight Dominion has proven throughout this process that it's the only grown-up in the room.
Sure. Emotionally speaking.
I was like,
Possibly
the
not.
only grown up in the room who's like, unemployed and I live in a basement. That's fine. Not successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yes, as you've hinted, I am going to also use one of my final session moves, which are unlocked for this final session of court, to sing the final hymnal, use all my remaining magic, and attempt to resolve the ritual at a blow.
Sounds good.
I might take the opportunity to go first, because my move does not even require me to roll dice.
Whoa.
Oh.
How exciting.
Now we sing the final hymnal. One last stupid sad song from except the final hymnal is like on the banjo. For the final hymnal, the Wraithlight Dominion finally, like, having discovered the banjo in their final marsh years, instead of being ethereal, decide to rock out on the banjo.
Oh, sick as hell. I'm into it.
So it's Eye of the Tiger on the banjo is what I want you to imagine.
Absolutely.
Draugr finally into it.
Accompanied still by wailing, but this time, it is... Yeah, exactly. This is Led Zeppelin wailing instead of wailing and weeping and lamenting. To beseech the god of death one final time, I will spend all of my remaining magic. I only had one left, but I kept it just for this.
Amazing.
And mark the ritual as resolved.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Well
and describe how the world is changed by my terrible music. All the lands of the dead are into thrash banjo now.
We've all grown mullets against our will.
Yeah. Including the skeletons.
Yeah.
And because the ritual is resolved, we gain 1 hope. We are now standing at 6 hope.
Ooh,
Okay.
Very good. I guess I'll go next, considering what's going to happen.
I think that makes sense.
It does make sense.
That's sensible.
Good luck.
Thanks. I will fix this roof. So yes, remember the old way. So again, we go back to that camera view of now a quite colourful skeleton trudging back. And then at some point, their head, it actually probably takes off their head as they sort of duck under the groaning sky and the blood. And they're like, okay, this is for you. Interestingly enough, they've all been left alone. Whether or not their interaction with Tild and the way they've acted in the last couple of courts has driven other skeletons away to maybe go into other realms, perhaps. So it's just Fennec. And then starts to sort of use the magic and remembering about at the end of time, at the end of all of this, what is left. It's not flesh, it is not muscle, it's not even sinew goes away eventually, it is bone. And so sort of brings that and almost like then does sort of almost like a Brotherhood alchemist, sort of they clap their hands and then push into the ground, and their force sort of spreads out, using that sort of death magic, trying to bring up bone,
Pillars of bone.
Exactly that. So roll plus death.
Good luck.
That's 2 6s. That's 14 total. That's very exciting. but it doesn't help really. So I can pick 2 on a +10, so I'll mark against the crisis, so that's only 2 out of 3.
Oh no.
Which is fine. And then the other 3 options I have are increase stability by 1, restore a damaged bastion, or increase a resource by 1. I think, flavoursome-wise, it makes sense that I would restore a metatarsal, just to be like, ha-ha, I've done it! So it's slowly, like, these pillars of bone are pushing up the sky as slowly it sort of gets higher and higher and higher and goes past metatarsal. I'm like, yes, I've done it! You know, to then turn around.
Right. Lift our ragged banner high. When you march one final time for the glory of your realm, pick a realm to feel the fury of your wrath. Describe how you lay waste to their lands and roll plus might. Okay. So I only rolled a 5 on the dice. Plus 3 is an 8. So I pick 1 and I'm going to damage one of their bastions.
No! Just fix that!
And you get to pick 1 for us, which is reduce their stability, mark one of their champions as broken, and damage one of their bastions.
What's your stability at?
It's at 2.
But I really hate Keith. No. I think stability, for sure. I think that reduced by 1, because I'm also on 1. So you sort of, we just see metatarsal fall into the blood pool.
As waves of Draugr rotting corpses flood the area.
Many of them crushed by falling metatarsal.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
Oh, once this roll is resolved, you may repeat this move on another realm that has not already been the target of this move until you roll a 6 or below.
Wait. Oh, you rolled an 8, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh no.
Well, wait, I'm in between you two, aren't I?
Rampage.
You've gone straight through Skeletal.
Oh baby cakes, that's a 12.
Oh no. What did we do to you?
Oh,
Why?
It's beautiful.
What's your stability looking like?
My stability is currently 2.
Come down with us.
Join the 1 club.
We're all on 1.
Whoa.
And how are your bastions looking, my guy?
Oh, great, actually. My fractal dirge is entirely intact, and my veiled gate is only damaged.
We're going to obliterate your veiled gate if that's
No,
damn
but
straight.
that's where the death gets in.
And we are death in this situation.
Yes.
We lay waste to your lands.
As we sing our thrash banjo, just completely unawares.
Over the hills and far away. Oh,
wow.
So the final year of the Lands of Death ends in blood, chaos, and destruction, as it was always prophesied to do.
Yeah.
Only one thing remains.
Ooh.
To discover the final outcome of the dawn. Whether we held it back, who survives, who stands, who falls. We have 6 hope.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to roll 1d6 plus 6. Would anybody like to volunteer?
It's your show, bud.
Or shall I do it as unhallowed sanctioner and
Yeah,
compare?
it makes sense that you would do it, so please, go ahead.
Last time I had to do a 1d6 roll on this production, I beefed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we look forward to blaming you.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't any of our fault.
Hey, I'm rolling plus 6, so I can't roll less than a 7 here.
Great.
Here it comes.
Ooh.
It's a 5 on the dice. That gives us an 11 total. On a 10 plus,
Yes.
your efforts have prevented the dawn,
Hell yeah.
but not all were able to withstand its burning light. Any realm with a stability above a certain threshold prospers.
Mm.
Any realm with a stability below that threshold falls.
So we're all on the same.
Would you like to take a guess at what the threshold is?
I mean, I've got it in front of me, so I'm like...
Put me out of my misery.
Stability of 7 or higher prospers.
Okay.
6 or below falls. Ask each falling realm to describe how their lands are lost to the coming of the dawn.
I mean, it's quite simple, really. I always intended this to happen. I'd got so fed up with court that it was bound to happen, people squabbling and stuff, so I tried to take care of home, but eventually the home took care of me. As being attacked by the realm and with the right light of the dawn, with this threat coming over the hills, I just look up and see the sky coming to meet the rest of the Skeleton Duchy as it just... And if you look in between the lands there is no realm anymore. There is just a bow, essentially, where the sky comes and meets the ground and then goes back up between the Draugr and the Wraithlight Dominion.
It's a blood sandwich.
It's definitely, there's a bit of blood in the sky now. Mixes in with the clouds. And it's just... the last thing you sort of hear from the Skeletal Duchy, because obviously everyone's left Parvenic, is shit. As it sort of hits the ground.
The dawn comes, crests the horizon, and the now muddy, boggy, swampy Wraithlight Dominion is baked in its light and heat. The mud becomes solid, hard-packed earth. All of the water-born spirits, those who were frozen in ice, carried in ice flows, survived clawing themselves through slush, evaporate in a single flash boil as the dawn comes. The land steams, it bakes, it cracks, and as time goes on, it becomes lush and green and full of life where once it was pure death.
The Draugr have been spreading themselves too thin, trying to destroy everyone else. So I think we see waves of bodies fall in battle, and then as the sun comes, they begin to set alight. We see them standing in the slowly baking lands of the Wraithlight Dominion. And there's a strange silhouette as the gate to death begins to fall of Keith the Bloodless and his wife stepping through the gate to further adventures beyond. As the rest of us burn up, we see Creok, the rotting hand of the Cataclysm, eating the innards of Logvik, the World Eater.
It was fucking worth it.
And in many ways it was, because while the 3 realms, the Wraithlight Dominion, the Skeletal Duchy, and the Draugr Earldom, that make up the court of the Lich Queen in these dying years, while they all fell in the light of the dawn, the ritual was a success. Through their combined efforts, the full force of the dawn was averted. And so, as our realms fall, the Lich Queen herself awakens to an empty, cracked, gore-ridden council chamber.
Wow.
She raises a finger and pushes the sun back down the horizon.
And that's Court of the Lich Queen.
Oh!
Thank you both so much for playing.
That was phenomenal.
That was so much fun.
What a good game.
I'm sorry I killed you.
Don't be. That's the game.
That's the game.
That's good, because I'm not.
That's politics.
Yeah.
Remind us very briefly once again where our lovely audience can find the two of you if they're interested in hearing more of your adventures.
Hello. When I'm not playing an evil skeleton trying to fix the roof. I am Fiona. I'm the host of What Am I Rolling? It's a twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast. We do lots of different systems, some very rules light, some rules heavy. We do lots of interviews with game designers as well. We've recently had Merely Role Players on our podcast doing Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast and The Between. Two very, very different games, but highly recommend because it's really good stories and stuff like that, and it's actually joy to have them on. Also, I am the co-host of the DM's Book Club, which is a weekly book club podcast which discusses some D&D topics in a book club sort of format and discuss how we would improve it. And if you're not into D&D, because let's face it, things have happened.
And they continue to do so.
Whenever this goes out, that will be a relevant statement.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Whenever it goes out in years' time, when you're listening to this, it is still a relevant statement. Check out the GM's Book Club, which will be out later this year, where we're going to look at some different RPG systems, but in the same sort of review and sort of see what we like about it and what we would take away and what we might change as well. We're going to be looking at, certainly the beginning ones, we've got the Blade Runner RPG and the One Ring 2nd edition as the ones we've got planned so far, but there'll be many, many more. You can find both of those, well, all three of those podcasts wherever you listen to podcasts. And that's it from me. I'm going to hand it over to my wonderful rival, friend and enemy, Naomi. Go for it.
I have been Naomi Clarke, and you can find my scripted show at The Kilder. You can find me playing Liminal as Free Card Monty, Chicken Nugget Wizard at Realms Pod, and you can find me as The Murderous Four at Who Lives Who Dice. And I'm sure I'll be all over, but if you're still looking, it's at Naomi Thinks It all over the internet.
Thank you both very much once again, and let's just end with a little round of applause for ourselves and each other as we end this production.
Yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo!
Yeah, worth it. What a great, good show. I'm going to review it. Give it 5 stars.
This has been The Queen's Dead, a studio production from Merely Role Players, starring Fiona Howat as the Skeletal Duchy, Naomi Clarke as the Draugr Earldom, and Matt Boothman as the Wraithlight Dominion. The theme music is by Matt Boothman, who also edited and produced this episode. We were playing the beta version of Court of the Lich Queen by Ursidice, who you can find at ursidice.com. Merely Role Players is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshore Theatre Company. Until next time, if drama be the food of life, play on.
I do now have a champion that could easily break. If that had to go.
I think your champion should be broken anyway, just because they come home and they still get yelled at, and they're like, "What did you do?"
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, "While you were away, the dodo ran away, and that's on you." And you're like, "I wasn't even here." And I'm definitely not going to regret this voice tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to say.